it's recording. We do have 40 minutes, 35 probably now, but please share. So the first one, I wanted to think about our points that we're getting each week, the categories, and think about where have you consistently maybe missed points the last couple of weeks? Like, is there a certain category that you missed points in both weeks? Are we in week 3 now? It's week 2? Week 3. Okay. Well, October's flying. Okay. Where have you consistently missed points all 3 weeks? And just kind of share that.
So, Erin, I don't think I've missed consistently. Well, so mine, it's like 1 or 2 here, but like last week I did a live video, but then I thought that I forgot that it needed to be like a young living live video, and I did something like kind of talking about our internet being out, and just how it affected us. But I think for me, like the live videos are still a little bit of a struggle because I don't want to just go in there and just be random, but I want it to make sense of everything.
Yeah.
Like, like have a purpose for it. You understand what I'm saying?
For sure. And I think that's okay that you did something that wasn't a Young Living Live. I think, we could have some freedom in that because, again, if you look at that social media calendar, which I'm not filling out the social media calendar, but I think it's a good tool into getting us to think about, like, what are our 3 to 5 areas in our life that things we are passionate about, like, is it your faith? Is it your kids? Is it oils? Is it horses? Is it, whatever? And so you can kind of go back to those topics. And then if you look at that other column, how can you like provide value in those things? How can you give somebody a behind the scenes look? How can you whatever those columns are, you kind of connect them. And that can give you some content to share on your wall that's going to give people a peek at who you are and what you're about, and create value, share a recipe, something that encourages them to engage, something like that. Okay, you guys are typing, which is fine, but feel free to verbalize. Yeah, and let me encourage you. Shakira said not connecting with 10 non-members every week. It's been challenging. That was actually my area. That's my area where I've missed points 2 times. And I agree, that is a challenging category. It was a little easier this last week because I had a class. So I had plenty of people to follow up with, those kind of things. But I thought, what if we were challenged in that area instead of just skipping it all together? What if we took that as a challenge to build connections, use that form with people that weren't members yet? People who were on our warm market list, whatever you want to call that list, people in your life that and love and care about, have some sort of connection to, and you want to see them live a healthier life. Taking that list and intentionally connecting with 10 of those people if you don't have. And as we're doing the things every week and we're doing a workshop and we're, doing maybe connecting with people who have commented on your Young Living posts. I like to go back and see like who's engaged there, who's liked a couple of those, who's commented, and intentionally connecting with those people. I don't know. Does that help, Shakira? Maybe give you some direction there? I think that's what I'm going to focus on next week. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Mallory? I find commenting on social media stories helps find people to connect with.
All right, Erin, you're gonna make me talk.
Mm-hmm.
So stalking people on social media, one, is how we get to know what's going on in their lives, which gives us something to talk to them about. So we actually know what, a question to ask them, or something to relate with them, whether it's motherhood or a trial they've been going through that you are dealing with something similar. And nowadays with people using their stories so much, and posting more of like, I feel like real life stuff is on the stories, versus like really pretty stuff is on the walls. It's an easy way to comment and be like, I don't know, let's say like you have a friend, she posted something about motherhood. It's been a rough day. The kid didn't nap or whatever. Send help, something to that effect. And you're like, oh girl, yes, me too. And it just kind of gives you a doorway to make that connection to someone maybe who you weren't already talking with regularly. So just stuff like that. And it's like the stories also, they give you like that bar, write a comment here. And then it goes directly to them. It's a message versus just something on the wall. So it's like I said, you can open up that conversation a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a good example. I actually saw a neighbor's story who borrowed my diffuser the other day, and we've had a play date recently, and she just was like sharing how she'd had a week from where, and everybody had a fever. Somebody was in the ER for a busted lip, like husband was gone, all the things. And so like literally in 4 minutes before we ran off to dance tonight, I just threw together a little package. I had an extra bottle of elderberry syrup. I just got the Joy bath bombs in, and I had a couple nitros. So she talked about needing like an IV of caffeine. And so I threw some stuff in a package, wrote her a note, and left it on her porch. So, and that was just like looking at stories for a couple of minutes. It can be, you have to be careful there because we don't want to spend too much time just like, wasting time on social media for sure. That's an area in my life I'm trying to like create healthy boundaries in. But yeah, that's a good tip. Okay, you guys can holler back at those. We can circle back, but I wanted to kind of dig a little deeper. Maybe like why, if you're consistently missing points in an area, why? Is it fear? Is it insecurity on something? Is it maybe a lack of importance? Like maybe there's a category and you're like, I don't really feel that's important, or I don't connect with that. That's okay. This is a working module that we want to kind of just like work to make really valuable for us. So feel free to like make suggestions there, whatever. But what is it? Is it a fear thing? Is it an insecurity thing? Is it an area that you don't really think is important or that you don't connect with? I'd love to hear from you guys. Jen, you said you're struggling with personal development.
Mhm.
That probably a time thing? Is that?
It's 100% time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, well, like the moment the kids are napping, like I have to do schoolwork. And, then they usually like when they go to bed, I try to go to bed because, I'm up at 5 a.m. working. So
Mhm.
I have found like the podcast has been good. I've been doing the Revolution Oils podcasts, like on the way to preschool drop off, or like when I had to drive to Kansas City, pop that in and was able to get my time in. But just reading right now has been hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 100% of mine happens like on the way to a preschool drop off, a dance drop off, something. Like I have a little magnet on the back of my phone that like sticks up to my car, and I just let an October challenge video play or whatever. And I keep a little notebook by the driver's seat so that whenever I get to wherever I'm going, if I've had like a thought or if there was something that I heard that was really that I connected with or I wanted to implement, I'll just jot it down really quick. Because the danger in personal development and doing a ton of personal development is doing a ton of stuff and taking in a lot of stuff but not implementing anything. So the statistic out there is that if you listen to something, say like in a October challenge, and you're like, that is a cool idea, like that is something I want to do for my team. If within 72 hours you haven't like put some sort of plan in for implementation, the chances of you ever like bringing that to fruition or utilizing that information you just ingested are like 0.2%. Like the percentage is just wildly small. So my encouragement to you guys would be to like take something in, ingest what you can, pull out a takeaway or don't. Maybe you watch something and you're like, there's nothing there for me. Leave it. Go on. But if you found a nugget that you think would be really important or would just like really be really life-giving for your business, take the next day and figure out what it looks like to schedule that in or put it on your calendar or whatever, so that that time in personal development wasn't in vain. Does that make sense? Because I've been guilty of that, just like ingesting, and not really doing anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Shakira says, I just don't get out much or talk to people. I just have anxiety talking to people, and I'm never sure if people know or believe in oils and the whole like rejection, fear kind of thing. Does anybody have any encouragement there for Jackie? Anybody feel the same? Not Jackie, sorry, it's Shakira.
Speaking from experience a little bit on this one, I think that's where building like relationships with people comes in. Don't just like jump in with oils when you're getting to know people, or reconnecting with them after an extended period of time. But being able to build a relationship with them, getting to know them, getting to know their mom style, their lifestyle, their beliefs, all those things that kind of give us insight to who they are. I feel like if you do those things first, then it makes that easier to be like, maybe they share a health concern, like Erin was saying she saw on her neighbor's stories, that like, oh, I feel comfortable giving some stuff to them to help them with whatever it is. Or I feel comfortable asking them to my next oily event because even if they say no, it won't be like, I just lost a friend. It'll be like, no, thanks, I'm good, moving on. And you still have that relationship.
Yeah, thanks, Mallory. And I think we've probably heard it before, but it's important to remember that we're all going to experience rejection. Like, no matter what we do in life, there are going to be people who aren't on board with things that are important to us or our lifestyles or whatever. We're all going to experience rejection, and it can feel hard for sure. And that's where that like personal development comes in, that confidence in like knowing like this is what we do, this is important to our family. We know that everybody can benefit from better wellness, like somebody else is ready. And I found it just like not taking it personally, like they weren't ready for that, and that's okay. Maybe they will be later, but somebody else is. And that's always really encouraging me to know like somebody is around the corner like needing you to share. Talked to somebody today at a friend's house, and she opened up about like a neurology issue, and when we all finished talking, she was like, thank you guys for like sharing what you know. Like, you don't know how much I needed to know about that. And like, such an encouragement. And I've experienced rejection this week or last week. I experienced rejection, but to know like we kept sharing our stories and kept just loving people, and somebody was waiting and praying for an answer. And that's really cool, you know? Yeah, that's for sure. Personal development, Kathy. You're probably ingesting more personal development than any of us. Kathy, I actually wanted to hear from you a little bit. I looked back. Let me pull up. My document went away. Maybe I wasn't supposed to ask you a question. Hang on. And no, you're not on the hook. Where did it go? Here it is. I found it. Okay, Kathy, you mentioned in one of our just like reflection posts that you got your points this week, but that you aren't feeling like you did well overall. And so I was just wondering if you could maybe explain that feeling of like what you're feeling about not feeling like you've done a good job this week, or maybe we can kind of like work through that and see maybe where that's stemming from.
Okay. The social. Okay.
We can hear you
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, just like that, talking about watching the October challenge videos, and I wasn't thinking about that being personal development. So, I don't know. I have lots of blanks on my dream plan due, and personal development was one of them. Also, all of the social media stuff, I'm on Instagram, but I'm not utilizing Instagram because I really am not tech savvy. So Facebook has just been my in and out because I'm more familiar with it. So I watch everybody else, which is something that on October Challenge, and is it called Silver and Up? There's a lot of videos going on right now.
12 Days of Diamonds?
Yes, 12 Days to Diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them say, don't compare yourself to other people, but that's hard not to do when you're watching. I'm on your page and I'm on Rachel's page and just watching all of the interaction. And I'm sitting at a desk 10 hours a day and unable to be active like that on social media. So the personal development, watching those videos tells me not to do that. But then I do feel less than competent at doing it because I'm not putting in as much time in those aspects.
Yeah, thank you for
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. And yeah, comparison is a thief for sure. And I think probably all of us have fallen into that trap one way or the other. And, I think for some people, they probably think I'm on social media a lot. And I actually, I'm not perfect at this, but my goal is to only be on it during nap time and after my kids go to bed. I will answer some messages in between times, but I've really found that to be like present in my girls' lives and to not just be like crazy. And that's a really healthy boundary for me. So I use a lot of like the scheduling feature to think ahead and schedule posts so that like when I'm sitting down in the evening, I might take an hour to schedule out a week of posts and then I don't have to think about it every day. Does that make sense? So, so it can look like I'm maybe more present during the day than I actually am. And that's a saving grace for me because if I was on that much all the time, it would drive me bonkers. But I wanted to encourage you guys too, who were maybe a little less comfortable with social media, that, this isn't about creating the most beautiful photo or the most poetic wording. This is just about using a free resource to connect and engage with people that maybe you wouldn't normally. Yes, we want to be a little conscious of like, let's tap the middle of our screen before we take a photo so it's not blurry, or let's not have a bunch of like busyness in the background so somebody can like focus on what we want them to look at. But beyond that, like when things are crazy super perfect, people don't really relate to it. When your house looks like a magazine all the time, like people are like, well, my house is never gonna look like a magazine. So, there's that balance too between being real with people and knowing that like people are just getting to know you. It's more about like just valuable content, and it doesn't have to be. Somebody said the amount of posting that was kind of on the Unstoppables thing was a little overwhelming. Do what works for you. We can miss points in those areas. I would say don't not do something because of fear, but if it doesn't jive with your like social media boundaries or what feels like good to you for amount of posts to do a week, or whatever, like that's you. You do you. But if it's I'm not doing X because I'm scared of what people will think, or I'm not doing Y because I'm feeling really insecure about something. And those are things I think that we can use this as an opportunity to work through. That makes sense, guys? So I had to give it up. Okay. One other comment I kind of pulled out from our reflections post was Becca. Becca talked this week about losing internet. Kathy, do you mind Oh, I can do it right. I can mute you. Thank you. There's a little background noise. She mentioned losing internet this week and wasting a whole day thinking that she couldn't work, which, I think maybe many of us would do. So how would you maybe encourage others to prepare for hiccups like this?
So one thing I learned from my own self doing it, because honestly, I am a creature of like routine, and my day got completely thrown off because the kids were out of school. Everybody was home because we had that bad storm, and so I was like, oh, I can't do anything. Granted, I did read my book. I read one of my personal development books. I didn't not work, but the rest of the day and like at the end of the day, I was like, oh, I could have done this, this, and this. Like I had like 5 things I could have totally done. Um, and so honestly, I'd say, y'all, I'm talking to myself right now. Take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, and just I'd say write that list down of what things you want to do, and then you can that can help you categorize what's like internet needed or what's not internet needed. And I think I'm going to try that for next time. But like I said, I'm preaching to myself right now, because when my routine and schedule gets discombobulated, I get completely thrown off. So something I've got to work on.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I just think about having a plan. It actually went really well with a video I watched this week, and it was a girl who talked about like working her business, and she had been encouraged early on by a friend to think about things that if like tomorrow tragedy struck in your life in some form or fashion, what would be the non-negotiables that you could still do for your business to keep it alive and to not just completely pull away? Because I've seen this happen several times over the last few years. Is somebody is in it and they're loving it, and then something a little off, a hiccup happens in their life, and they need to pull away for months. And you guys, that's the beauty in this business. There's freedom, 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 but especially when you're at the beginning, like to pull away for months and then to come back in, it is hard. It is hard to step back in and to like rebuild momentum and to rebuild that trust with people when you've just like pieced out for a while. So she was encouraged to like think about something happened tomorrow. What would be the things that you could say, like write out a handful of things that you could say, I could still do this. I could still show up in this way. And what would that look like? And she said, no joke, 6 months later, her life was turned upside down. And she said if she hadn't already thought through some of those things, she probably would have been tempted to just peace out. In that next year of just hard turmoil for her family, she actually ranked from silver to gold in one of the hardest seasons of her life. And she said, I was in a place where I had already made a plan for something like that. And then I let my team come up and rally, and we just did the things together. And I thought that was just really cool and beautiful, and a picture of community and all the things. But just a good thing to think about. What are some things that would be your non-negotiables that you could say, I could still implement this? So I thought that kind of went hand in hand with Becca's example. Have a plan. Think about some of those moments. All the time we've got stuff come up. Somebody's sick. Somebody's busted a flat tire. Whatever. If we can stop for a minute and then reevaluate what we're doing, we can trudge on. Anybody have anything about that they want to share or add to? Okay, I'd love to just open it up for you guys and tell me what you're loving, what you're hating, what you're any of the in between about our Unstoppables group. What something you think we could do to make it better? I'd love to hear from you guys. Or general, just like questions about your business. This is a great time to get some feedback from other builders.
Erin, I have a question more so about the vouchers, and this might be helpful to some people. So I personally don't have vouchers, um, but I have a few people that are, and I have a couple of people that are working to get them. And Shakira and I have actually talked about her voucher. But for the other people who might say, "Oh yeah, I'm trying you. I have somebody that's interested," with the month coming to the end. Well, yeah, it's getting towards the end. How long would you? Because like I've talked about possibly, offering them my like sign-ups to get their voucher. That makes sense. How long would you wait before telling that person with there being just a couple weeks left? Because I have not mentioned it to any of my potential signups, because I don't want to be like, oh, hey, I have this, and then I don't have it. But I want to give them enough time that if they want to jump on it before the end of the month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, probably maybe till the last week. I think a week would still give you enough time if you like legitimately have people who are ready to do the things. Um, and I think even connecting with some of those people that have vouchers are people who have never enrolled before. And what does that look like to help somebody move from that space to enroll, and making sure that they understand how to do that, or if they have questions about what that looks like, if you can come alongside them and help. Um, so yeah, I would maybe say next week, to follow up and let them know, like, hey, I'd love to help, where you at with that. And then if they respond and say, it doesn't look like it, then you can kind of ask, like, hey, I'd love to make sure that doesn't go to waste. Um, what can we do? And then whatever you're thinking. Vouchers are good for both premium starter kits. Sorry, I was reading comments. Vouchers are good for both premium starter kits and basic kits. Yes. So I've actually offered a basic kit. I have a girl who's just interested in Amino Wise. She has a ton of oils. Um, and I think she's gonna jump on. And so I think eventually she'll switch out her oils with Young Living oils, and she's gonna jump on with the Amino Wise. So obviously, like, it's not ideal. We want to make sure that we are sharing value for cases like this. This girl's like, I have oils, I have clean cleaners, that kind of thing, and so it's a way to help her get started. Kathy, were you able to kind of reach out to your girl, and was that a good meeting point, that basic kit that we kind of talked about the other day?
Mhm.
Oh, I unmuted you. You're good.
Yeah, she's been out this week with a sick kiddo, end of last week, first of this week. So hopefully she'll be back in the office tomorrow or Wednesday. So it's a no-go right now.
Yeah, we'd love to keep us updated. Like, if that was if you felt like, you know what, yeah, this was a great tool to be able to use my best judgment and say, like, this would be a good option for you. So we'd love a follow-up on that.
Yes.
A couple of questions about ideas on how to reach out to others. People who are interested in kits but just aren't sure yet. How often do you follow up? How to keep from being pushy. So, I definitely am not somebody who follows up over and over and over again. I try to make sure when I follow up with somebody that I'm offering them value, whether that's saying, we have this great class we're going to, or that we have this workshop, that I thought of you'd be interested in for XYZ. I try to turn around and say, to remind them of their original pain point that they mentioned to me. I think sometimes in our like months of follow-up, somebody can forget, like, oh yeah, I was having severe anxiety, or oh yeah, my kids were like puking their guts up and I prefer to like be able to keep them healthy. So kind of tying that back and reminding them, like, I thought of you because I know you're wanting to be really proactive about keeping your babies healthy this fall and winter. We're doing this elderberry class, like, it's got your name all over it. Come. So thinking of ways to provide value to them instead of just like, hey, you ready to buy that kit yet? That could be things like, hey girl, I was doing some research and I learned about Progessence Plus this week. It made me think of you. I know you just had a baby. This, was a game changer, whatever. As we're doing research, as we're learning more about our products, we can use those as opportunities. I can think of some other ideas and send them to you guys. Does that help at all? Anybody else have ideas there that they want to share about follow-up?
I think it does. I think partly this goes into like the unique situation that we're in here where like everybody's getting their black market oils, and how do we get people to sign up with a kit for Leavenworth Black Market?
Yeah, we're in an interesting market here. Everybody has tried oils in some capacity or has a dealer that just buys them their oils one at a time. So it has definitely been a hurdle to overcome. Like, no, I'm not making 9 jars of bath salts and selling them to you. It's not my jam. So we are working through that. You know, I'm giving really small samples. So, you know, I'd love to share something from us. I'm using 3 milliliter bottles, like tiny samples, enough for them to use. When I shared my diffuser, I gave them enough to fill their diffuser 3 times. You know, so that I'm doing somebody connected with me about coming and doing a calm roller for a yoga class she's teaching. She was like, yeah, you know, those like rollers, they could make a whole roller. And I'm like, you know, they could and pay for that, or we could do it free and I could give them a small roller, give them some education. And so we're going to do small rollers. They can use it that night at the yoga class. Otherwise, if I give them a 15 milliliter roller, have them pay $5 or whatever to cover my costs, that roller could last them
Forever.
Right?
Yeah.
So being smart about offering small samples, following up with those people after that really helps. With the basic kit, if they still get a total of 100 PV, does that count as the level up challenge, or is it only for the PSK? I'd have to go back and look at the frequently asked questions. In your member resources in your virtual office, there are promotions there. A lot of times you can find the details for all of those promotions there. Shoot me a message to Kira if you can't find that, and I will look up the specifics for that. I know it needs to be 100 PV for free shipping. So they can use the voucher for the basic code, but they only get, or the basic kit, but they only get free shipping with 100 PV. So glad that this has been encouraging and motivating for you, Shakira. We're really excited to see you here every week. I think that we're about to shut down here, but thank you guys for showing up and for showing up for your businesses. This is for you and family and freedom and all the things. And I love each of you, for real. See you guys this week. I hope you have a great week.